Welcome back. Brian Splitt and Tommy Grisafi rejoining us. Okay, before the break, Brian, we were talking to Tommy about if we do see a record crop, we see rains this summer, how low could prices go? What are your thoughts?
I would correlate what's happening now to roughly 10 years ago. And just to lay that footprint, 2010, major low, 2020, major low. We went and screamed higher into 2011 highs, 2021 highs, ultimately culminating in 2012 with a drought, 2022, the invasion of Ukraine. 2013 and 2023 were both transition years from bull market to bear market. 2014, we made a new set of lows all the way down to 318 and a quarter after trading above $5 in May of that spring. So when you take a look at our stocks to use potential estimates of a good crop, with the amount of acres that we're looking at planting, even that being a reduced amount, the stocks to use of 17% or higher does suggest that we should see low to mid threes. So without a weather problem this year, I do think it's entirely reasonable that December corn come October may be down into the 320 to 350 range.
Tommy, when you look at the spreads right now, the wheat spreads versus corn spreads versus soybean spreads, how are they acting? What are they telling us?
In every way, they're telling us we have too much, but the corn spread saying, hey, everyone, before you go plant your crop, we could use a little bit more corn to the cash market. The farmer is 100% in control of their crop. That doesn't mean the market's going to go up or down. When you look at the futures market, it's drifting lower. But when you look at the May-July corn spread and also look at the local cash market, your basis, there's been some really nice opportunities here. So, for example, someone who's short futures and gets that pop in the cash market would really have a nice opportunity to sell the grain before planting here, take off those futures, and move on in the marketing cycle time.
Okay, speaking of lower prices, cattle markets, does it feel like we have hit a bottom here, Brian?
It feels like we've hit a short-term low. When you look at both the June live cattle and the May feeder cattle, both of those contracts achieved a 62% retracement, and that was from the December lows that were made to the recent highs. So we're talking, our March, our February highs in the feeders and our March highs in the live cattle. Now, the problem that I see is that maybe we get a little bit of a short-term bounce from these technical support levels, but again, very similar to about a decade ago. You think about 2014, we had major highs that were made, new record highs in fall. We had about 3 months of a break, and then we did rally for a few months after that. But what happened was when we eventually took out those lows that were made after that 3 months of break, it led to catastrophic losses. So the equivalent price level on our chart today would be roughly 160 to 162. That's that support zone. And if we do see these contracts trade below 160 later this year, then I think this market is pointing down towards 130 on the live cattle. So for live cattle, 160 puts in DEES and in Feb is something to consider. And likewise, bringing it back to corn and soybeans, 10 years ago, we made early lows in January that year. This year it was in February. When we took those lows out later in the year, that led to catastrophic losses. So $4 corn puts in December and $11 bean puts on November beans. That's catastrophe protection, and probably good risk management warrants having that there in your account, looking for some type of a summer rally to do some marketing, and then you leave those puts on for the long haul into fall.
Yep, good point. All right, Tommy, real quick, as farmers are looking at spring, getting this crop in the ground, what's the biggest piece of advice you have for them?
Well, the actual cost of money's changed tremendously. In December, we were at a 3.80 10-year yield. We're now inching up to 465, 470. Stock market's coming off. Land values, we've had a few no sales. You also see reports that we're at record highs. I guess it depends what auction you go to, but keep your eye on the ball. We're in the bushel business. They are too. If they grow a big crop, we're going to a much lower level. I think Brian did a great job of talking about all those scenarios.
All right, Tommy, Brian, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We need to take a quick break, and then we're going to check in with Tractor Tales. That's next.